Om Sarvesham Svastir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This is one of the most beautiful prayers. It means simply, in essence, may everyone be happy. May everyone have all the aspects of that which is needed to be happy. It's a very beautiful prayer, and we will soon explain that. But today, I want to start with a little bit of actual grammar, so that you have the feeling you actually know something in Sanskrit. So you remember, so far we have done the meanings of the letters A, and I. So there is something called the merging of letters. When two letters come together, they merge in Sanskrit. The letter A, when it is followed by the letter A, becomes A. And I will give you a simple example. The word yoga followed by the word anga becomes yoganga. That means a limb of yoga. Those of you who practice yoga, you will know that there are 8 limbs of yoga. These are called the yogangas. Similarly, there is Ashtanga type of yoga. Ashta means 8, Anga means limbs. Ashta plus Anga becomes Ashtanga. Can you think of other examples where an A is followed by an A? I'll help you. Think of the word Krishna followed by the word avatara. What does it become? It becomes Krishnāvatara. Or the word Buddha followed by avatara, Buddhavatara. The word Rama followed by avatara, Ramavatara. Yes, this is quite simple. A plus A always becomes A. I'll give you one more example. Veda means knowledge. Anta means the end or the conclusion. Veda plus Anta, Vedanta. And there are so many other examples like this. Krishna plus Arjuna, Krishnarjuna. Correct? So there are many, many, many examples that you can think of yourself. And in fact, I would like to ask you now, because this is a class, it is not a monologue. I would like to ask you, can anyone give me examples of words that come to your mind where A and A become A? Anyone? You can just unmute yourself, I believe. Drona plus Acharya, or you can also write it. Yes, you can write it into the chat if you like. Drona plus Acharya. Although, Nileshji, that is Acharya. I think my picture is not so clear. It's maybe better now. Yes. Drona plus Acharya is correct. You're right, but that is Acharya. It is a long A. But you see, A plus A also becomes A. All right?
Vrindavan.
Vrinda. Oh, no, no. Now, this is not an example, because Vrinda is the word. That is already a long A. And the second word is Vana. Vana means forest. So Vrinda means Tulsi, and Vana is the forest of Tulsi. Then someone gives the example, Krishna plus Ashtakam becomes Krishnashtakam. Wonderful. Someone gives... Yes?
Atharvashish.
Atharva Shirsha. Well, there is no A in Atharva Shirsha. But you can take the word Atharva, and can you think, if you take the word Atharva and you add another word that begins with A, can you think of a word that begins with A? Any word?
Acharya.
Yes, well, that is a wrong word, right? So if you have Atharva and Acharya, what does it become?
Atharvacharya.
Atharvacharya. It becomes a long
Sarvacharya.
Very good, exactly. Then someone says Yuga plus Antara becomes Yugantara. Yuga is a time period and an era like Kali Yuga, which is what we are in right now because of Corona. And Antara means another. And Yuga plus Antara is Yugantara. And then someone says A plus Arti, almost, yes, it's a clever one. Yes, all right, in a way, yes, in a way. Then Sarva plus Anga becomes Sarvanga. Sarva means all, Anga means the limb, Sarvanga. And someone already gave Krishna and Arjuna, Krishna Arjuna. And then someone gives the example, Parama plus Artha. Parama means the highest, Artha means meaning. Para or reality. Parama plus Artha. So now can I ask you, I won't tell you, Parama plus Artha, what does it become? Anyone?
Paramatma.
No, Parama plus Artha, not Atma. Artha becomes
Paramartha.
Artha. Exactly.
Paramartha.
Yes. There is an ashram in Rishikesh called Paramartha Niketan. Yes.
Yes.
So then someone else gives, and a very good example, Padma plus Asana becomes
Padmasana.
Yes. And now all those yoga practitioners among you, you know so many words, so many asanas, don't you? You know the Vriksha plus Asana becomes Vrikshasana, asana of the tree. You know the Vajra plus Asana becomes Vajrasana. You know so many asanas, right? Ushtra asana becomes Ushtrasana, the asana of the camel. Bhujanga plus asana becomes Bhujangasana. Yes. So all the yoga people among you, you can easily practice. A plus A becomes A. And now, as you already saw, also long A also becomes long A. So if we have the word Hima, Hima means snow. Alaya means the land or the place. What is Hima plus Alaya?
Snow plus mountain?
No. Alaya means place, not mountain.
Himalaya.
It is the land of snow, the place of snow. Hima plus Alaya, Himalaya. Yes? Very easy. Then we have Deva plus Alaya.
Devalaya.
Devalaya. Then we have the word Parama plus Atma.
Paramatma.
Paramatma, right? So many examples. And then we have, for example, Vidya plus Alaya is?
Vidyalaya.
Vidyalaya. Then someone says Shiva plus Alaya is?
Shivalaya.
Wonderful. Everybody, is this clear? Is this clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, Acharyaji, it's clear.
Okay. And I think it is quite easy. And now this was real grammar. This is proper Sanskrit grammar. This is proper Sanskrit grammar. That you go now through your life thinking there is an A and there is an A. And they become A. Yes? Now, similarly, you learned the letter E. You learned some of the meanings of the letter E. One of them, for example, was moon. Now, I want to ask, A followed by E, or A followed by E. Those of you who know some Sanskrit, this is easy for you. Those who don't know it, intuitively, what do you think it becomes? A plus E, A and E. What do they merge into? What is the most intuitive sound that they merge into?
A.
A. So now think Rama followed by Ishvara. Rameshvara. Yes? There are so many examples now that you can think of. So many examples. Buddha plus Ishvara.
Buddheshwar.
Buddheshwara. Yoga plus Ishvara.
Yogeshwar.
Yogeshwara. Yes? Arjuna plus Ishvara.
Arjuneshwara.
Arjuneshwara. So now you can go through your life, wherever you see an A followed by an E, you just make it into A. Yes? And those of you who are feminists, you can do it with the word Ishvari. Ishvari is the queen, the supreme lady, the divine mother. So if you want to say the queen of love, Kama means love. Ishvari is the queen. Kama plus Ishvari, Kameshwari, the queen of love. You can do this with so many words. Now, question to you, what would be the queen of yoga?
Yogeshwar.
Yogeshwari, exactly. What would be the prana means the life energy, prana. What would be the queen of prana, the queen of the life energy?
Praneshwari.
Praneshwari, exactly. What would be the queen of Shiva?
Shiveshwari.
Shiveshwari, exactly. See how easy this is. Yes, it is so easy. A followed by A is A. A followed by E is A. So simple. Yes, wonderful. Shailaja, she writes, Jagadeshwari, no, because that is not Jagata, it is Jagat. Jagat followed by Ishwari is Jagadishwari, not Jagadeshwari. If you think about it, the word is not Jagadeshwari, it is Jagadishwari. Yes? So this is quite simple, all right? Now we will go to something very fascinating, the meaning of the word, sorry, of the mantra, of one of the most powerful mantras, Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya. It is considered the most powerful mantra of all mantras in the scriptures. It is the oldest mantra found in the Vedas. This is why some people rightly say, and the scriptures rightly say, that it is, if not the most powerful mantra, among the most powerful mantras. It is found in the Taittiriya Samhita of the Krishna Yajurveda and also in the Rudrashtadhyayi of the Shukla Yajurveda. It is also found in all the agamas, the Shiva agamas, and of course, even in the Tamil scripture, Tirumanthiram, which is a very powerful scripture. The basic meaning of the mantra is very simple. Om, obeisance or homage to Shiva, the auspicious one, the peaceful one. The detailed meaning is Om, obeisance with body, speech, and mind to the auspicious, peaceful, joy-bringing, beneficial, absolute consciousness. Because that's the meaning of the word Shiva in detail. And now I will go into the even greater detail. Om, as I have told you before, has up to 84 different meanings. And one day, if you have the patience, we will have an entire session only on the meanings of Om. We can spend a whole weekend on the 84 meanings. The primary meaning of Om, derived from the Mandukya Upanishad, verse 1, is that it represents wholeness, totality, sarvam, simply everything. Everything is Om. the highest and the lowest, the smallest and the largest is Om. Om represents the absolute and that which is not absolute. It represents the infinite and the finite. It represents the unlimited and the limited. It represents absolute beauty and also absolute ugliness. Because Om is everything, my dears. It is not only God. Om is not only Paramatma. Om is also the absolute opposite of Paramatma, which is the limited little being that we are when we are in ignorance. Om is everything. If someone asks you, what is the meaning of Om? You just answer, it is everything. It means everything. Yes? Om has 4 letters. A, U, M. Now, those of you who have paid close attention, if A followed by E becomes E, then logically A followed by U becomes O. Yes? It is quite logical. So A plus U followed by M becomes Om. And the 4th letter is that which has no letters. It is called Amatra in the Mandukya Upanishad. That which has no letters, no syllables. That which has no sound. And in the later scriptures, this is called Bindu. The point in the letter Om, that point, that is called Bindu, which is the unspeakable, that which cannot be expressed, that which has no sound. So these 4 letters, according to the Mandukya Upanishad, represent the 4 aspects of consciousness. A represents the waking state, the waking aspect. Most of us now in this Sanskrit class are in the waking state. I said most of us because some will be in the dream state. And the dream state is represented by the syllable U. So A is the waking state when we are awake. U is the dream state when we're dreaming and we're seeing all the things that we experience during the day. We also see things that we like. Sometimes we see things we don't like. Some of our dreams are clairvoyant, where we see things we can't know about. We suddenly see that this and that will happen, or this and that person is in trouble, or this and that thing will occur, and it happens. That is the dream world. Sometimes we also dream things that never happened. For example, the lottery, winning the lottery, right? It just doesn't happen. And then there is the 3rd letter, which is the letter M. And this represents deep sleep. That kind of sleep where there are no dreams, no experience, the total absence of any experience. Yatra nakanchana kamam kamayati, nakanchana swapnam pashyati tatsushuptam. Where one has no wishes, where one sees no dreams. That is called deep sleep. And for some people, this is the best kind of sleep. I have some friends who almost on a daily basis write to me that they had a deep sleep with no dreams, and that in that deep sleep, they were still a little bit conscious of that deep sleep. That is the best kind of deep sleep. And then the 4th part of Om, which is that part which we cannot pronounce. After the comes the silent sound, Amatra, that which has no letters. This is called Turiya or Chaturtha, the 4th. This is the absolute consciousness. This is the true nature of all things. And the Mandukya Upanishad says this is called Shanta, peaceful. And it is called Shiva, auspicious. And it is called Advaita, non-dual, without any duality. There is no separation. There is no, I am here, you are there, you are separate from me, you hurt me, I hurt you, you hurt my family, I hurt your family. That doesn't exist on this level, in that depth of absolute consciousness, which is Shanta, Shiva, Advaita. Yes? This is, in essence, the basic meaning of Om. A, U, M, and then the soundless fourth part of Om. Now, my dears, the next part of Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya is Namah. Namah essentially means obeisance, prostration, homage. It is from the root nam, which means to bow. But not only to bow with the body. The scriptures say nam means to bow in three ways: with the body, with your speech, and with your mind or with your heart. Kayena vacha manasa. With the body, with speech, and with the mind or with the heart. Therefore, when we say namah, it doesn't only mean a physical bowing, you know, like bowing, oh, I bow, not like that only. It really also means to bow with the heart, to bow innerly. And when we say namaste, it is the same namah. Only te means to you. Namaste means bowing to you. Not to Shiva. Namaḥ Śivāya is bowing to Shiva. Namaste is bowing to you. But the bowing, as I said, is not necessarily physical. Yes? It is not necessarily meant that we are bowing to you physically. Just innerly, with the mind or with the heart. Why do we bow? When we bow, we dissolve our own egoism. We dissolve our own pride. I am so great. I am a yogi. I am the master. I am the one who has understood everything. I am the one who knows Sanskrit. I am the one who is always right. You see, we get rid of that when we bow. Have you ever bowed to something or to someone? When you go to a temple or a mosque or a church, you can bow. When you bow down, you experience a sense of humility. Those of you who have visited Kailas, Parvata, like Nutanben, very blessed lady, she will know what it means to bow to Kailas, to bow to Shiva himself in the form of a mountain, or Arunachala in South India, or Nilakant Mahadeva in Badrinath. When you bow, there is a sense of dissolving one's own egoism and pride. In some spiritual traditions, they practice going around the sacred mountain, bowing for miles and miles and miles. Like in Vrindavan, they go around Govardhana, bowing. Also Kailas, the great Tibetan yogis, even the normal Tibetans, they go around Kailas bowing. Look at the humility it takes to bow. So I would recommend you, if you want to experience that sense of humility, just bow physically. You can also bow to the sky. If you don't like deities or gods or temples or mosques or churches, or if you don't like outer things, you can bow to the sky. You can bow to your true nature, to your own Atman. If you don't want to bow to others, you can bow to your own nature. That is Namah. And Trusharji rightly says that the Yoga Sutras call this Ishvara Pranidhana, taking refuge in Ishvara. This dedicating oneself. The essence of bowing is to dissolve the sense of ego, me, myself, and I. To dissolve this constant self-centeredness, which mysteriously begins right when we wake up in the morning. We wake up and there is some back pain, or nowadays my feet are paining. My family members are laughing because there's always something paining. Either it's my back, or it is my fingers, or it's my feet. Something is always paining, right? It just can't be without pain. So I wake up and oh, something is paining. And you see, then the self-centeredness comes. Poor little me. My body is paining. Poor me. Do you see this? Instantly, the ego comes right in the morning. The first thing. It is not there in the dreams, strangely. It is not there in deep sleep. It is absent. There is no ego. Even in meditation, it is not there. When you are in a deep state of devotion or in a deep state of concentration, there is actually no ego. Even when you're looking at a flower and you are admiring the beauty of a flower, there is no ego actually at that moment. So the Kashmiri Shiva scriptures, such as the Svabodhodaya Manjari, which we will discuss one day here, if you like, they actually say, you should engage in activities where for an instant your ego is absent. Just for an instant. Why? Because then you will experience what it means to be free of the ego, at least for a moment. So they say that one should ring a bell. Just ring a bell and listen to the sound of the bell. And try to identify the moment that the sound of the bell ends. So I just want to request you to do that. Listen to the sound of a bell and try to identify the moment when the sound ends. This is in the Kashmiri Shiva scripture, Svabodhodaya Manjari. So just try that for one moment. I will ring a bell and you try to identify the exact moment when the bell sound has ended. Yes? Did you hear it? We'll try with a different bell. At this moment, my dears, when you were paying closest attention, there was no ego. This is what the scripture says. The Kashmiri Shiva scripture. That just when you're listening with great attentiveness, there is actually no ego. It only comes back afterwards. So you can practice this. This is true Namah. When there is no ego. Just for a moment, it is gone. The same scripture says that when you hug someone whom you love, like your friend, the scripture says when someone whom you love with great love, even if you have had great conflict, but if that person comes after a long time and you hug that person, that moment of hugging is a moment without ego. This is right there in the scripture. So to practice egolessness, even just momentarily, is true Namah. You understand? Then Śivāya. Śivāya is the fourth case, the dative case of the word Shiva. The dative case means to whom To whom is the bowing made? To whom is the obeisance made? To whom do we offer our ego? To Shiva. That is why it is Śivāya and not Shivam or Shive. These are different cases of the word Shiva. And if you stay in the class, you will learn these with time. Śivāya means to Shiva. Obeisance to Shiva. The word Shiva has several meanings. It comes from the root shi, and shi means to rest, to recline, to repose, to relax, actually, to be at ease. It is so beautiful. Therefore, Shiva is he in whom everything relaxes. This is the traditional definition of Shiva. Shete asmin sarvam iti Shivaha. He in whom everything relaxes. Everything is at ease in Shiva. Why? Because Shiva is absolute consciousness. Shiva is absolute awareness. Shiva is absolute reality. Shiva is your true nature. Shiva is my true nature. Shiva is like the sky. He is infinite. He is boundless. He is without limitations. He is without ups and downs. Shiva has no moods. He is not sometimes happy and sometimes sad. Kabhi khushi, kabhi gham. He is not sometimes pro and sometimes anti. He is not sometimes kind and sometimes unkind. No, he is always what he is, absolute. He is always absolute kindness. Kalyanam is another meaning of Shiva. Kalyana means auspicious, kind, benevolent. He is full of maitri. Maitri sarveshu bhuteshu Shiva dharmasya lakshanam. Maitri towards all beings is the definition of the nature of Shiva. Shivam kalyanam vidyate asmin. Shiva is he who contains all good things. These are the primary meanings of Shiva, yes? He in whom everything rests and relaxes. And the second is he in whom all kalyana, all beneficial things are. All things that are good, everything that is good is in Shiva. Then secondary meanings of Shiva. This is from a different root. This is now from the root sho. And sho means tanukarana, to make small, to reduce. Shyati ashubham iti Shivaha. Shiva is he who reduces inauspicious states. He who reduces negative states. He who reduces anger, desire, jealousy, envy, irritation, pride, all these things, he who reduces them, who minimizes them, is Shiva. Shyati ashubham iti Shiva. Yeah. So this is a secondary meaning from the root sho. But the primary meaning is really from the root shi, which is to rest, to relax, to be at ease, to be completely peaceful. Then there are other secondary meanings given by the ancient commentators, such as Yaska gives one meaning, that the root is also in the sense of to give, to bestow, to be generous. So Shiva can also mean he who is generous, who is boundlessly generous, and who bestows happiness. And Sayana, the great commentator, gives one very interesting meaning, that the root can also mean nishana, to sharpen, to refine, prajnanam, to refine our insight, our awareness, our clarity. So Shiva is also he who refines our insight. Those of you who have practiced vipassana, the path of the Buddha, you will know that it is about refining insight. So it is interesting that Shiva also has this meaning of he who refines our awareness. The great Shankaracharya explains in his commentary on the Mandukya Upanishad that Shiva means Bheda Vikalpa Rahita, to be free of any ideas of duality, to be absolutely free from any notions, ideas, concepts of duality is Shiva. It's a very interesting definition. And in his commentary on the Rudra Suktam, which is found in his commentary on the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, those who are interested in these things, he explains that Shiva is that aspect of consciousness which is completely free from ignorance, selfishness, and its consequences, and whose nature is Sat Chit Ananda, absolute being, absolute consciousness or awareness, and absolute bliss. That is Shankaracharya. Amarasimha, the great composer of the Amara Kosha, which is very important work in Sanskrit. And I named our little Amar after Amarasimha. Amarasimha says that Shiva is one among 12 words that mean auspicious benefit. Other words are Kalyana, Mangala, Shreya, Shubham, and so on. And if you look at the meaning of these words in detail, it is quite interesting. For example, the word Mangala or Mangalam. We are the Sarvamangala Foundation, named after Sarvamangala Devi, the founder of the tradition of Krama, of the Kashmiri Shiva Ati Marga, Ati Yoga tradition. And Sarvamangala simply means all good, everything good. Sab theek hai, it means all is good, all is wonderful. But if you look at Mangala in detail, it is highly interesting. It is derived from the root Magga, which means to move, and is defined as Mangati Hitartham, to move for the benefit of others, is Mangala. To move for the benefit of others. That even your body movement, the movement of your mind, the movement of your emotions is no longer for your own benefit, but for the benefit of others. That is Mangala. Absolute Maitri, absolute Karuna, compassion. And Shiva is said to be Mangala. Shiva only moves for the benefit of others. Do you understand the meaning of Shiva a little bit? Yeah? Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya. Om, we already explained. Namah, dissolving the ego, bowing to absolute consciousness, whose nature is pure being, pure awareness, pure bliss, and which moves only for the benefit of others. That is the meaning of Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya. The Shiva Shadakshara Stotram from the Agamas is a hymn which explains or praises every syllable of Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya. And I just want to briefly recite it for you before we can have some question answers. Om Omkaram Bindu Samyuktam Nityam Dhyayanti Yoginah Kamadam Mokshadam Chaiva Omkaraya Namo Namah. The syllable Om. The yogis always meditate upon this syllable, which grants the fulfillment of all wishes and also grants liberation. Obeisance upon obeisance. Namo Namah to the syllable Om. Namanti Rishayo Deva, Namantyapsarasam Ganaha, Naranamanti Devesham, Nakaraya namo namah. The syllable na, the rishis, the sages, the devas, the gods, the hosts of apsaras, the beautiful divine ladies, and all beings, the humans too, bow to the Lord of the Devas. Namo Namah, to the syllable na. Mahadevam Mahatmanam Mahadhyanam Parayanam Mahapapaharam Devam Makaraya Namo Namah. The syllable ma. They bow to the great Deva of great nature, whose meditation is great, who is the supreme goal, the Deva who removes even the greatest of evils or sins. Namo Namah, to the syllable ma. Shivam Shantam Jagannatham Lokanugrahakarakam Shivamekabadam Nityam Shikaraya Namo Namah. The syllable shi, Shiva, the peaceful, the Lord of the worlds, who grants his grace to the worlds, the peaceful non-dual state, the eternal Namo Namah, to the syllable shi. Vahanam vrishabho yasya vasukih kantabhushanam vame shaktidharam devam vakaraya namo namah. The syllable va, he whose vehicle is the bull, whose throat is adorned by the great serpent Vasuki, the Deva on whose left side abides the divine feminine Shakti, the divine energy, Parvati, Uma, the divine mother. Namo Namah, to the syllable va. Yatra yatra sthito deva sarva vyapi maheshwarah yoguruh sarva devanam yakaraya namo namah. The syllable ya, wherever this Deva is present, the all-pervading great Lord, consciousness itself, he who is the Guru even of the gods. Namo Namah, to the syllable ya. Shadaksharamidam stotram yah pathet Shiva sannidho Shiva lokamavapnoti Shivena sahamodate. One who recites this praise of the 6-syllable mantra, Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya, in the presence of Shiva, that means while you are aware of your consciousness, such a person attains the realm or the world of Shiva and is ever in bliss, in union with Shiva, together with Shiva. Finally, the Tirumanthiram, which is an ancient Tamil scripture, says that the syllable na represents the feet of Shiva. The syllable ma represents his navel. The syllable shi represents his shoulders. The syllable va represents his mouth. And the syllable ya represents this part, the Brahmarandra, where our Atma, our innermost consciousness, leaves the body, which is why in yoga, when we practice yoga well, we begin to feel the prana pulling up here a little bit. And then when we die, it goes out ultimately from here. And the Tirumanthiram says, this is the meaning of Namashivaya. So it is the body of Shiva. Very interesting, very beautiful scripture. Those who want to know the source, this is Tirumanthiram 941. So now, my dears, I hope you enjoyed and you learnt from this. And now we will go to questions. Someone says, can it be others plus oneself? Yes, of course. Karuna, compassion, is always for others and yourself, because you see, ultimately, you are not separate from others. Others and you are always one, ultimately. You are only experiencing yourself to be separate, which is why you have compassion for them, which is why you have to have compassion for yourself. But ultimately, when you experience the true nature of Shiva, when you practice a lot of Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya. My suggestion is, if anyone wants to do sadhana, to really relax in this and to chant Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya for a long time, and then to rest in the white space of Shiva. Shiva is actually white in the scriptures. He's never blue. It's very surprising for me that they paint him blue nowadays, because he's white, like a crystal, Shuddha Spatika Sankasham. It is only his neck which is blue, Nilakanta. That is why they started painting him blue in the comics, right? But Shiva is not blue, he's actually white. So my recommendation is, anyone who wants to meditate on Shiva, please remember that Shiva is actually white. Yes, he's infinite space and he's white. So you relax into that and you chant Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya, Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya, Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya, and you dissolve your sense of ego. You did, like we did with the bell, remember? You just concentrate, and if the ego comes back, no problem. Just do it again. Yes, don't have a problem when it comes back, and completely relax into Shiva, into this all-benefiting nature. Yes, there's a verse, there is a shloka, Agamartham tu devanam, gamanartham tu rakshasam, kurve ghantaravam tatra devatahvana lakshanam. That we ring the bell in order for the devas to come and for the negativities to go. So the ringing of a bell has this auspicious effect, this auspicious meaning. Yes? However, that only men should ring the bell, it must be something quite recent, because if you look at the scriptures, you never see this. One of the names of Devi is she who rings a bell, right? So these things, they always surprise me. I don't know where these things come from in modern Hinduism, but they surely don't come from the scriptures. So this is, of course, not traditional ancient Hinduism. This is modern Hinduism. And it must be something from the 19th century where some guru, sometimes you have these gurus who have very funny ideas, and then their students, they continue that, and then it becomes into a dogma or some rule, but it is certainly not from the scriptures. And you can tell your parents, then why is Devi ringing a bell, right? If Devi can ring the bell, and I am, according to the scriptures, you are a form of Devi. As a woman, the scriptures say that you are a form of Devi on this world, in this world, even though you are not fully aware of it yet, but you are a form of Devi in this world. This is in the Devi Mahatmyam, if they want to know where it says that. It says it very concretely, that all women are forms of Devi in this world. So if Devi is ringing the bell, why can't you, right? So you should tell your parents that. And if they still don't agree, you can give them my WhatsApp and I will explain it to them. Next question. Someone says that, does the continuous recital Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya lead us to go from Jiva to Shiva? Yes, this is indeed one of the explanations in the Agamas, is that by continuously reciting Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya, but with consciousness, you see, not just mechanically. The idea is not that you have a mala. I just made myself a new mala. These are real corals. I made them myself. So not the corals, the mala. So if you go like this, Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya, Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya, Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya, Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya, and then you have some coffee and Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya, 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 and then you take your WhatsApp, Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya, Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya, oh, I got a call, Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya, Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya. That, you see, that's not going to work. You understand? It's not going to take the Jiva, the individual soul or the individual consciousness, to Shiva if you practice like that. Yeah? No. So what will work is if you very consciously practice Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya, where you connect with Shiva, that absolute consciousness, which is your own nature. It is not something separate from you. It is your own nature. And then you engage like that, and always also remember that Shiva is the one who moves for the benefit of others. Don't worry, I will send all my notes to you. So you will have all this, what we have studied. And if you remember that, Shiva means absolute compassion, mrida, absolute compassion. And it is absolute consciousness, absolute space, beyond moods, beyond ups and downs, beyond opposites. It is absolute, absolute. If you really practice like this, and then you witness your thoughts, you witness your body, you witness your emotions, you witness your pranas, you witness all the states of your being, and you remember that all of these states are just temporary arising, like waves in the ocean. But the ocean is actually Shiva. And all your states, your emotions, your thoughts, they're just like waves. But your true nature is Shiva. You are the ocean. If you practice like this, then yes, slowly, slowly, your consciousness begins to melt into that absolute Shiva. And you will feel that, you will feel it first, that there is something has happened. Some energy is there. There is something different now. And then you engage with that. Then you connect with that. And this is called sadhana, the path of sadhana. So then someone says, sir, what Namashivaya means is what Krishna says that he is in the Gita. Yes. So Krishna is Shiva. Shiva is Krishna. In the Vishnu Purana, it says, Shivasya hridayam Vishnur, Vishnoscha hridayam Shiva. That the heart of Shiva is Vishnu and the heart of Vishnu is Shiva. So yes, they are absolutely the same. Then someone asks, when you do Namashivaya, their duality is involved. How do we remove duality? So you see, duality is involved only temporarily. When you actually engage in Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya, when you actually connect to Shiva, the absolute Shiva, you begin to feel that duality is more like an illusion. It is more like a dream. It is like things appearing in a mirror. If you look at a mirror, many, many things appear in the mirror. But the mirror is one. There's only one mirror, even though many things appear in the mirror. And the appearances in the mirror, they seem to be many, many, many different things, but they are actually only appearing in the mirror. Similarly, all experiences of this life, they appear in Shiva. They appear in absolute consciousness. They appear in absolute innermost reality, like the things appearing in a mirror. There is only Shiva. There is nothing but Shiva, ultimately. So when you engage in Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya, when you meditate deeply and you come closer and closer to samadhi, samadhi is a state of absolute meditative absorption where you become one with Shiva, then suddenly you realize, oh, in reality, there is only Shiva. It is only in the temporary experience of my life that I think there are all these different things. So, my dear, if you actually engage in the practice, it is much better than to say, oh, now there is duality involved. You see, it is better to engage in the practice. There is a statement in the scriptures, it is better to practice instantly than to have endless discussions about duality and logic and intellect and criticizing this and which path is better and this. It is much better to just practice instantly. One Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya with your heart is infinitely more valuable than 100 years of discussions on duality. You see? It is better to directly practice. All right, I think we are finished. And I inspire you to come back again to this class. The homework is A plus A. All A plus all A becomes A. A plus E becomes A. So you can practice Sarva Ishvari, Sarveshwari, Yoga Ishvari, Yogeshwari, Parama Ishvari, Parameshwari, etc., etc. Parama plus Atma, Paramatma. You can practice all this. And I've already told you in the context of Om, A plus U becomes O. So Purusha plus Uttama, Purushottama, etc., etc., etc. This is your homework, my dears, to learn these, to practice these. We will send this also into the WhatsApp group and into the Facebook groups. And I will also send you my notes on the meaning of Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya so that you have all this as notes and you can practice. All right? Please enjoy. Be full of Shiva. Shiva means Maitri. Shiva means Karuna. Shiva means Mangala, auspiciousness, peace. My guru, one of my great gurus, said, all good qualities come from relaxing. They come from being at ease. When you're not relaxed, nothing good will come of it. When you are relaxed, all good things come automatically. That is the meaning of Shiva. Oṁ Namaḥ Śivāya. Please enjoy your week.